Today, the banks are being bailed out by governments in order to save them, and such bailouts amounts to trillions of dollars.
This is a community girl.
Last and then now that everyone's not
actually a few individuals.
Today, we are trying to during the Second World War, the various governments provided testimony. Distress in the world also has amounts to trillions of dollars.
Thank you for joining us this evening on Crisis on Global Economic Crisis. I'd like to please introduce Zafar Bhatti, who's going to start the evening with the tilawat.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يريد الله ليبين. And Allah wishes to turn to you in mercy, but those who follow their low desires wish that you should stray far away. Allah desires to lighten your burden, for man has been created weak.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the ever merciful. Distinguished guest speakers, honourable guests, ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you here tonight on behalf of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association Leamington Spa to this conference on the global financial crisis being held at the Baitul Ehsan Mosque. Today's evening hopes to examine some of the causes of the economical crisis and look at the possible solutions. We will be presenting two different perspectives. One which will be based on the current economic theory. This shall be addressed by respectable Professor Andrew Oswald, who is a Professor of Economics at the University of Warwick. He also holds a professorial fellowship with the Economic and Social Research Council. The second perspective shall be addressed by respectable Zafar Bhatti, who is the leader of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Youth Association, Leamington Spa, on the Islamic viewpoint on the workings of a successful economy.
I'd now like to introduce one of our main speakers for this evening, an eminent Professor of Economics from the University of Warwick, Professor Andrew Oswald, who will be speaking on the global financial crisis and possible resolutions. May I also take this opportunity to convey my gratitude to him for taking time out of his busy schedule to come and speak here today. Professor Oswald.
Something called the FSA, the Financial Services Authority, is supposed to regulate and keep an eye on what goes on in banks and financial organisations, who's selling what, who's buying what. And unfortunately, they too didn't understand how this kind of system can get out of control. I serve on this committee. It was set up by Monsieur Sarkozy. We meet every now and then in Paris. In the spring, late spring, we'll produce a report which may make worldwide publicity, I don't know, about how should we design the objectives for a modern society for the next 100 years. And the idea is, of course, I can't tell you the details, partly because we're still arguing about it, but the idea is, do we really need more economic growth from where we are? Should we be thinking about different objectives? Should we be thinking about maybe measuring the mental health of our citizens rather than how many BMWs and so on they have? Should we be measuring the cleanliness of the air rather than the number of BMWs and so on? I see all that as the other side of the concern for materialism, and curiously enough, I think that's strongly woven into how we will change after the financial crisis.
The solution Islam presents is to abolish interest and greed, and to replace it with zakat and charity. This is the founding principles on which the economy should be established, and it is this which will ultimately lead to economic peace.
On behalf of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, Leamington Spa, I would like to express our gratitude to our distinguished guest speaker.
Just to ponder and with the call of concern is the present financial crisis.
I'm Councillor Bill Gifford, and I found this evening's talk very interesting, and there were surprising themes and interesting similarities between the two speakers in what they were saying, and the role of greed and the danger of greed in economics was something that was common to both speakers.
Hello, my name's Ben Weston. I'm a Deputy Member of Youth Parliament for Warwickshire, and I have a keen interest in politics, and it just appealed to me when I saw that there was a conference on the global financial crisis that I might like to come along. I definitely found it informative. The speakers were definitely captivating, and they brought new ideas to the table that, I mean, obviously I've thought a lot about the financial crisis, and I've spoke about it at seminars, and it just gave me new ideas about how I can think further about it.
I'm David Elworthy. I live very close by and have lots of friends among the Ahmadiyya community. I find it very interesting, and there were lots of questions which I have, and I'm looking forward to finding out more, particularly about the Islamic approach. And it was interesting to have this very instructive talk by the economics professor as well. So I think it's a very good evening. I hope you have many more of these occasions.
This is my first time here. As a newcomer, it's been really interesting to have two quite different perspectives, both of which hold a lot of merit. So as a relative newcomer to both subjects, it's been really informative and a good platform to learn a lot more and to really take in a lot of information that could have been quite technical. So it's been dumbed down, if you like, for some of us that might not have understood all the technical jargon. So it's been really enjoyable, and got to meet a lot of new people that I perhaps wouldn't have done in my role working for the police. So it's been really good, really enjoyable evening.
My name is Andrew Oswald. I'm a Professor of Economics at Warwick University. Well, I've had a very interesting evening. I came as an invited speaker to talk about the financial crisis, to talk about the credit crunch, how did we get into it, what should we do, and so on. And I talked about that for about half an hour, and then I listened to an interesting speech on the Islamic banking system on a different way to think about money and the economy. And I do agree with the general idea that many different sorts of people, all of us, need to think about these problems and work together. And I've had an incredibly interesting and enjoyable evening.